Hi everyone, welcome again to another episode of G9ijaTV Sports Light News on our episode 10. Today it's going to be on a speed dial. So without much ado, I want us to actually start off with the news about the Zamfara NSCDC parade motorcycle snatchers. It's been reported that the Zamfara State Command of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps NSCDC has paraded a notorious gang and criminal syndicates who specializes in motorcycle snatching along Fafuri and Bugundu axis. I mean, it's almost like it's never ending story. We actually get this. We basically do get this news about some of these things that are really happening about bandits, about terrorists. I think sometimes the terrorists are actually called bandits. I don't know why, but definitely we basically are getting a lot of this. In most cases, where where bandits should be called terrorists, they are being called I mean, terrorists should be called terrorists. They are being called bandits. So I don't know why. Whether the idea is to make things slightly easier, I don't know. But hey, that's what it is right now. So like we're saying, it's been like we're having this situation whereby sorry, just 1 second. Yeah. Do. I can trying to share. I think I must have been beating a lot. So what we actually have, I actually want to share my screen so you can actually see this, but for some reason it's not coming up. Don't do like that too. I don't understand this one. Right. So what is being said is this news about the terrorists. Like I said, I'll rather call them terrorists rather than actually mislabel them and call them something else, because these guys are really really terrible. You know, they are not the kind of people you want to show mercy, because they do not show our people mercy at all. They are just very terrible set of human beings. These guys are, you know, they don't show us any this in itself. So we shouldn't show them, really. We shouldn't really show them any of these things itself. So we ourselves are not going to show them this in itself. So just 1 sec. Da, da, da. Right. Right. Yeah. Sorry about this. Right. I think finally I'm getting this footage. Right. We are not in the business of calling. We'll try to call the people by their right name. So if they are terrorists, we'll call them terrorists. We're not in the business of trying to make them sound better, because these guys don't care about. They don't really care about our people. So we too, we don't send them. I'm sure you all agree with me. So what we actually have is the Zamfara State Command of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has paraded a notorious gang and criminal syndicates who specialize in motorcycle snatching along um, for Furi and Bugode axis. The state command of the corps, Sani Mustafa, affirmed that on April 26th, the operations of the corps in Zamfara clamped down on the notorious gang of thieves. Look, the thing is this, right? I think one of the things that actually drive this situation in regards to the terrorists, honestly, what really drive these people is the fact that they get paid. You know, I can understand, family members that are kidnapped. Nobody wants their family member to die. Then the next thing is that then people start paying. And the moment that is the reason why you find the American government will never pay terrorists. That is part of their constitution. Never reward them. As long as people are paying, they will keep coming back. There are many people who have actually paid they've paid ransom. It's difficult to say, let's face facts. If you have never been in that situation, it's very easy for you to say we're not going to pay terrorists. What is the alternative? Sometimes some of these people are being rescued, and when they are being rescued like this, it creates shall I say, a situation whereby I don't know what to make of it, but it just makes things very hard for people. It actually makes things hard for, because look, you want those people to survive, then you are telling some people that you don't want them to. I'm not, so that's why I'm being very careful about what I'm saying, because none of us pray to be in that situation. Seriously, nobody wants to be in that situation whereby we're actually talking about not how can I put it? You know, Nobody wants to find themselves whereby you now face those people and you're now telling them that you're not going to pay. Can we truly deal with that? You understand what I'm saying? Can we? Because these are practical things that we need to consider. But so that's why we actually need our security service to be very, very powerful. You know, we need them to be able to, you know, take things, take charge, being able to rescue. Because sometimes when they are being, the kidnapped victims are being rescued, some of them are killed in the course of the rescue mission. So honestly, we just we need a lot of prayers, and we need action to match those prayers. You know, because it's a very difficult one. Seriously. So without much ado, I want to move on to the next one. It's about a police inspector that caught the wife's hand. Ah, this is, I mean, okay. A police inspector whose name is yet to be ascertained has allegedly cut off his wife's hand over what was confirmed as a minor disagreement over 20K. May God help us. Who does this? How would anybody in their right mind? This is supposed to be your wife. Why would you do that? Seriously, why would anyone do that? Let me just share the screen here. You know, it says it was gathered that the said inspector left money at home in Dong area of Jos. That's in Nigeria, the Middle Belt. Um, Not local government area of Plateau State. Well, when he came looking for the money, an argument ensued leading to him turning violent. The state police command confirmed that the suspect has been picked up and investigation is ongoing. The police spokesman, DSP Alfred Alobo, told Vanguard on the phone that the command is aware of the incident. We are aware of the incident. The man is an inspector. Right now, he's at the state CID. I mean, please look away if you are very sensitive. This is the picture. I mean, oh, please, this is gruesome. I don't think the police should have allowed him to display this now. Look at that. Look at that. That is his wife. Even if she spends the money. Okay, what he has done now, because to the 20, he will never have 20K again. He has definitely is going to be sacked. Imagine a police officer doing things. He's holding this in itself, the cutlass and thing. What kind of human being is this? Look at the woman lying helpless. It's going to be seriously traumatic. And here are some of the, we have some comments, and this man, Bashir M. Usman, says, to Allah we belong. Anyway, let me just say, a wicked man was found in Jos, and he removed his wife's hand because she removed 3,000, 3K from the 20K he saved. Because of 3K, cut the wife's hand. 3K. Look at, just imagine this, man. This is just, for discretion purposes. I'm not going to show how can this kind of person, this kind, like, seriously, I think I just hope they should cut his own hand as well. An eye for an eye, teeth for a teeth. So seriously, what sort of despicable human being would do this? And this man, what is this man finding being a police inspector? This one is not, this man is an animal. This is not, this cannot be. Seriously, I believe that information that is a police inspector must be fake. Every action the action this man has taken has demonstrated the fact that this is a terrible human being. Nobody should have a friend like this guy. How can? Why would somebody, this is supposed to be your wife, and then he's actually going around cutting because she removed 3K? I'm still trying to wrap, my head around it. That how is that even possible? Really, how is that possible? God help us. And this guy is supposed to be a functional police officer. How how is he doing that? How is he going to execute the job? If this is somebody that definitely, supposed to be part of the security services and is actually doing this, man, God help us. God help us. So moving swiftly on, let me change that. So want to talk about, now we are now traveling to South Africa. Now this South Africa one is is the sort of thing that you see in Africa, really. Oh wow. These two guys were caught in the office performing some African juju. It says, this is in South Africa. It said 2 employees of the South African Social Security Agency, SASSA, have been suspended for performing a ritual in their office. The decision was taken after the SASSA officials and 2 other men were caught on CCTV cameras entering the office after work hours. In the footage, one of them is seen walking around. This incident was recorded on April 12th. So what I'm going to say is, in fact, I want to share this footage. There's a video. So just for about, I think I'll share it for just like a minute, because we're not going to stand here watching the entire video. Some people call out, So let me share. Right. Can you guys see that? So this is the 2 guys. Apparently, when work was over, these guys went back to the office. So the idea of performing this African magic is to, whether it's for favor, nobody knows exactly, what was the objective. But usually this sort of things is whether they are seeking promotion, or there are certain things that they're just trying to do. I don't have the audio. The audio is not coming up. So you can actually see that, they were going around, with some, they said something like a dead snake, that the blood, they were putting it on computers and everything, going around that, so like they're saying that maybe is, I'm assuming that maybe the idea is for them to get promotion, that everybody, maybe they don't like these two people. So the idea is that once they put all this snake, that the juju will make them like them. I mean, how else can you actually say this? You know. So, well, so the thing is that so they were, obviously, people came to work in the morning. They actually came to work in the morning, and they found these people their performing their juju. Oh well, they actually saw blood. They saw all these sort of things. You can see them now. You know, they saw all of this in the morning, so they were wondering, where all these things come from. So they now turned their attention to the CCTV. So it was in the CCTV that they now found out, apparently they've got all these, they've got members of their staff who have been going around. Um, they have members of their staff who have been going around the office, doing all sort of crazy stuff, you know. So, like I said, nothing was really said about why they actually did it. Nothing, unfortunately. We didn't really get to hear from the allies that this is the reason why they did it. Oh, nobody knew what the thing is, but they've been suspended. You know, it is said that oh, so it is said that they were suspended anyway. So while they were doing investigation, so far they didn't. Like I said, they didn't really say why, you know, it was being done. So moving, we're now going to the Middle East now. So we're now going to Israel. Um, it has been said that it's been reported that Israel will invade Rafah regardless of hostage deal, foreign affairs. Just in case, some people don't even have an idea anything is happening on that side. Some few months ago, it's been found out that Hamas basically attacked Israel, and they took hostages. Many Israelis were actually killed. They were killed while they were having a concert. So it became a major thing. So Israel, in retaliation, invaded the Gaza Strip, and they, I mean, honestly, I do not support what Hamas did. There's no, you know, there's no straight thinking human being that actually supports that. But I'm just praying that both sides will sort of, you know, come to some sort of understanding, because the way Israel has reacted, understandably, I don't want Israel to lose its support so that they still have the moral high ground. But if you do see the way they've been, the people were being killed, the Jewish people that were the concert goers in Israel were killed, ah, raped, shot, dragged on the streets, women, ah. It's not like Israel is I mean the security forces in Israel too, has, there have been there are times when they've had to go into, all sorts of things, but both sides have had all these things going for some time. So it is quite difficult to say, hey, it is Israel's fault, or to actually say that Hamas. But Hamas need to actually look at this very well. If they really want something that they can, themselves can have a moral high ground, they need to, when you target, when you target Israelis and you are shooting children deliberately in their bed, grandmothers. I'm sorry, it's difficult to support. But at the same time, Israel needs to tamper justice with mercy. What has happened is terrible, but what the Israelis are doing right now, is it's going to be used against them. Because now the whole world, as human beings, people forget things very quickly. All they are seeing is the Israelis attacking, you know, attacking the Jewish people. The Israelis attacking the Palestinians. That is what people are saying. There's a threat hanging over them, over the Israelis, in regards to International Court of Justice, which America is not happy about. The Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced Tuesday that Israel will invade Rafah in the southern Gaza Strip, even if Hamas agree to the latest Israeli proposal for a ceasefire. The idea that we will hold the war before achieving all of its goal is out of the question. I mean, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, is resolute, absolutely furious right now. So all that is, he said that we will enter Rafah and we eliminate the Hamas battalions there, with or without a deal, in order to achieve the total victory. He added. So we're just saying that, once again, the Israelis need to tamper justice with mercy, because it's the people that don't even know anything, the Palestinians that don't know anything. Palestinian children too are being killed. Both have to come to they have to come to the negotiating table and make things happen. But this, I don't know. But there needs to be, both has to give peace a chance. That is what I would say. Both has to give peace a chance. There has to be assurance to the Israelis that this sort of thing will not happen, and the Israelis too need to show some compassion to. They need to actually show some compassion for the Palestinians as well. It's definitely something that has to be looked at. There is no way. I mean, look, if you see the history, honestly, I do not envy the American position. America is committed to supporting Israel. For those of us that are Christians, that is what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to, call for peace for both sides. We have to call for peace for both sides. The Bible says, it said, "Blessed are the peacemakers. After they will be called the children of God." The atrocities that have been committed against the Palestinians, and more so that there have been atrocities committed against the Israelis as well. So this tit for tat is not just going to, it's not just going to cut it. But we need to remember that the Hamas actually, they were the one that instigated this particular conflict at this point. So what's going to happen again? Some other things will take place, and because this is really dangerous for every human being on the planet, because this can easily escalate into a global conflict. What is wrong is wrong. So we're calling for peace on both sides. We're calling for, where both sides need to sit down and trash this out in a very hard way. Terrorism is never the answer. The civilians, children, women are the one paying for this. It's a very unfortunate state of affairs, really. You know, China and America needs to really, really, get into this, and with Russia to get this sorted out. Meanwhile, we have the Ukraine Russian conflict at the moment. That one is a different thing. I'm not even going to get started on that. But I don't think anybody, the Americans will not allow Russia to actually have to place their missiles in the 60s in Cuba. So while with the Russians accept Ukraine, you know, joining NATO, which Russia has several times complained about before we actually got to this day. That's just the truth. We've seen all sort of things that have been said, I get that, but the truth is the truth. Russia will not accept it. And I don't know why anybody will say that Ukraine's conflict, that Russia can be beaten there. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, unfortunately. The Russians are strong. And I think, quite frankly, I think to a large extent they've been fair. This conflict should not have actually happened. Shouldn't have, unfortunately. But it has. Right. So there we actually have it. So we're moving swiftly on now to the next story. It's however that was about relationships. I think we'll leave that one first. We are back to Kogi State, my favorite topic. So we're back in Nigeria. you know, this story is quite interesting because for some time we all know about what's been happening with Yaya Bello, you know, the former cocky governor of of Kogi State, who believe that he will be in power forever, meaning that he has forgotten that one day power is transient. You know, your 8 years will come to an end one day. You know, Yaya Bello has basically, he has created enemies. He has a lot of enemies. So now he's at the receiving end. So basically, the ongoing saga, it says some indigenes of Kogi states on the platform of Kogi Conscious Liberation Movement, KCLM, have the Economic and Financial Crime Commission to recover. I've asked the EFCC to recover every single dime allegedly stolen by former Governor Yaya Bello. They made their demands known during peaceful rally at the headquarters of the EFCC on Monday. It says it's led by Comrade Jacob Okpanachi, Secretary of KCLM, and Desmond Obaro. The group bore placards with descriptions such as "Kill corruption before it kills Nigeria." Very true. Corruption is cancer to democracy, among others, especially in Nigeria. Addressing the crowds, Okpanachi urged the AFCC to intensify its efforts in combating corruption. We are here to clarify that the people of Kogi State are in full support of EFCC. 80 billion is not a trivial amount, so I'm just rushing through some things. 800 million is paid in advance to American International School, allegedly. Our state struggle with counterparts, with our counterpart funding for UBEC, and many children are out of school due to lack of funds. And these are the people there that are actually protesting. It's, I mean, I don't know. This is just not on. Seriously, it's definitely not on. A lot of these things should not be happening at all. And this is somebody that took pleasure in telling others how they should, because I remember that his arch enemy, G9ijaTV, has been dancing, saying all sorts. The governor should have come out to, visit him. He's not the only person that I've had this thing. There are people who have been bigger than the governor who have been invited and they've responded. So so for me, the question is, does Yaya Bello thinks he's bigger than, he's too big because of his pride. He doesn't want to be seen anywhere near FCC, his image and everything. Come on, man. Welcome to the real world. He should actually go there because a man. I'm not saying he's not guilty of anything. They said innocent until proven guilty. So it needs to cooperate, with the investigation. One of the things I don't like is, in Nigeria, when we know that we have this issue of corruption, when we have this issue of corruption, one of the key things is that whenever we have people who have to deal with, who have to answer, who actually have to answer to, um, who have to actually answer to some investigation that we have. We don't have anybody bigger than the this in itself. Nobody is bigger than than Nigeria. You have to answer. You have to answer. That's just what it is. You have to answer. You have to answer. So the idea of this coming up and refusing to actually show up. What's that supposed to mean? They have people going outside supporting him and say, "Leave our son alone." They even accuse the EFCC chieftain of that is targeting Northerners. Hello, come on, get real, man. So we suggest that Ayabelu should submit himself and clear himself, and that's it. You know, he should just clear it and just get things done. That is all. We don't need any of these too much stories and all. That's all he needs to do. Right. So moving swiftly on, we have the one now. We are now into the music land and our own, you know, whiskey. Um, Whiskey has made a lot of money, no doubt about it, and all. So, I've been following his music for a while, and I just think it's changed. So I don't know, So why is he picking fights and all? Well, sometimes maybe when if you are too comfortable, I'm really happy for his success. I love his music. I love Davido's music and all. So I guess that sometimes some of these things they're just to spice things up, and make everything interesting. But how would you explain this kind of interests? Seriously, how do you actually do that? So let's actually have a quick read about what is happening with you know Davido and Wizkid. Now I will start with that of DMW. That's that works with Davido. So there is a quote. Okay, well, from the headline you can see, "Retire from music if you are fed up." Israel DMW tells Wizkid. You know. So what do we have here? So it said Davido logistics manager Israel, apparently popularly known as Israel DMW, has waded into the beef between his boss Davido and Wizkid. And he said Wizkid and Davido were engaged in a fierce social media war on X on Monday, reacting via his Instagram story. Israel DMW stated that he was disappointed with Wizkid's behavior. You know, he urged Whiskey to retire from music industry honorably if he's fed up. He also berated him for shading Ace Music executive Don Jazzy. So Israel DMW wrote, "I used to like everything about you, thinking you're a human being. I never knew you were a fully daft-headed human being. Why this continuous jealousy and hatred? Did Oga Davido stop you from releasing your own back-to-back sweet hits? He has never in any time said anything bad of you at all. You just keep hating him for nothing's sake. Retire from music if you are fed up. Resign honorably. If, well, who the hell are you? You are just a small dwarf. You'll be taught a lesson if you are not careful. You are an idiot. A whole dumb baba. Now your mate, he now said some Edo language. You be whole wagbon, you salwa. Ah, oh, more. I think I have to ask my Benin friends this one. So there you have it. So this thing has been happening. Apparently, I got to know about this. I think about uh, earlier in the day. That is 30th of April. We're now in the 1st of May now. And where people were actually talking about it. Um, I think it actually started up with Whiskey making some comments, which we'll get to shortly. And of course, DMW basically is going to support his principle. Like how can you? I don't know why Whiskey will shade Don Jazzy. Don Jazzy is a lovely guy. He's a lovely. He's doing his thing. Everybody is making money. Davido is making his money. Whiskey is making his money. Don Jazzy is making his money. So why is Whiskey picking fights with these guys? Why is he? I don't understand. Okay, I'm sure definitely it will come around to it at some point. So let's move into the next. So this is where we want to talk about the what brought about why what is it exactly that Whiskey actually said about Don Jazzy. So let's take a quick look at this screen. Right. Whiskey shades Don Jazzy after his artist Ladipo mocked him. Okay, so apparently, Grammy-winning Nigerian award Ayodeji Balogun, popularly known as Whiskey, as he had at music executive Don Jazzy, while reacting to shade fired at him. So Whiskey responded by insulting Don Jazzy because Ladipo, a Marvin signee, insulted Whiskey. Ladipo, a rapper signed to Don Jazzy label, recently mocked Wizkid for his controversial "hip hop is dead" statement. Nigerian rappers that survived hip hop is dead. Watching Afrobeat artists go through their own. Ladipo wrote via X. A fan called Wizkid attention to the shade on Monday morning, but the Starboy boss said, "LOL." This is the quote: "Never chatting to anyone signed to an influencer. Next." He also retweeted two tweets suggesting that he was referring to Don Jazzy as a social media influencer. Well, that is an insult. But why would Whiskey actually do that? He doesn't need that stress. You know, he doesn't need that stress. It doesn't. Why would you insult? I mean, the Don Jazzy that I know, not that I know him personally, but I've never read Don Jazzy insult anybody, or quite frankly, I've never heard him insult anybody or anything. The guy is rolling and doing his thing, which is great. So why does Whiskey need to start picking the fight with insulting him? That is insulting, man. Come on. I think Don Jazzy deserves you know an apology from Whiskey. I hope he does it, but I hope he doesn't feel he's now too big to do it. Honestly, I still believe that Whiskey is a decent guy despite his wealth, his fame, and all that. But you remember that everything is transient. If you can actually do that, that would be great. And in regards to his beef with Davido, I still don't know. I still don't know what exactly. I'm still trying to find information exactly what really ticked him off with Davido. But they've been having this rivalry, but at the same time, both of them have got their fan base. They are diehard whiskey lovers, fans, call it whatever. And same goes for Davido as well. These guys they all make they make good music. So I don't know why they will be having this thing. It's come on, guys. It's love and peace. But honestly, I'm picking out Whiskey on this one here. That he doesn't need to be fighting with these guys. Or I don't know. Maybe that's just his way of doing things in a way to just make things happen. Maybe it's a way of you know I don't know. So they said because he's not released anything out there to the public. My understanding is that he has this contract with Apple. So most of the stuff he does is does directly. So it's not like he's not releasing music that he is, but to Apple. So there you have it. Because a lot of people have been saying he's not doing anything, that he's not making music, but apparently he's been making music, but to Apple. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Is really behind all of this beef with Davido? Why is Whiskey actually doing that? So you can share in the comments. Put in the comment section, please share and subscribe, and let's see what is really going on. you know. So please, if you have an idea, please, carry us, try and give us some inside information if you have any, about what is really behind all of this beefing. So we don't really have a clue at this time. you know um the last and not the least is about a center in Lagos that I actually want to talk about, because this thing, we have some lovely places in Lagos that most people, I believe, are not even aware. So apparently there's this um center. Yeah, it's called John Randall Center for Yoruba Culture, noisy and unapologetically unapologetically non-European. You know, so the John Randall Center for the Yoruba Culture and History in Lagos pops with colors and sounds in a dazzling departure from the colonial model. Wow. Opposite, this center is being said to be opposite. Let me put a picture, so let me share the screen. You guys can see this with me. Right. It says opposite the Nigerian National Museum in Central Lagos, swimming pool, memorial hall, once stood as an integral part of the city, a popular congregation point that evoked a sense of pride. This year, decades after the compound fell into disrepair, a new pool is opening to the public alongside the state of the art museum dedicated to Yoruba culture. The John Randall Center for Yoruba Culture and History, which describes itself as a fitting symbol of the multiplicity of identities in the metropolis, is in the Onikon area, the central heart of Lagos Island. Unlike the National Stadium built in the late 1950s on a Western model by the English archaeologist Kenneth Murray, the center is unapologetically Yoruba, according to Shin Oduwole. The site's lead architect. So, I think I just want to share. There's a lot about this thing there. So, if you want to learn about Yoruba culture, so Yoruba people speak a similar language and have a shared cultural identity and a shared cosmology that goes back in time. It says interest in Yoruba heritage has peaked among young Nigerians for the past 10 years, and that's what the Randall Center absolutely plays into. So I think we should all be proud of our culture. Nigeria has, as you all know, three major tribes. Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, or should I say Hausa Fulani? You know, so everybody should be proud. We should actually embrace. Learn more about our background, our culture itself. One of the programs we're going to have very soon is where I have this strange thing where um, Nigerians of I just want to do Yoruba, or should I just say I don't want to talk about other tribes, but I will talk about Yoruba, where there are parents that are very proud of the fact that their children don't speak Yoruba. They will say no vernacular in Nigeria. I have Indian friends. Their children, even though they've never been to India in the UK, when their parents don't speak English to them at home, they speak Indian. And when these children are talking, they actually speak with Indian accent when they're speaking India. Perfect. I met a guy once some years ago that we were working together. So I went to see him. I met his children. They speak look, the truth is that they they spoke impeccable English. Their English to the letter T. They were just absolutely fantastic. But each time they talked to their parents, it was in Indian language. And it was like they just came in from Mumbai. You would, if you actually hear them speaking there, you would think they've never been. In Nigeria, the on the Yoruba setting, people are ashamed to speak Yoruba. They even laugh at you that look at it's seen as local, that they make it sound as if, oh, you're speaking Yoruba. So I don't know. We have children now who have never been to the airport that speak they were not they were born in Nigeria and they are speaking with American accent, with English accent. Well, I don't have a problem, that is not an issue, but if you live in Nigeria and you're speaking like an American, I think there's a problem. It's not just so much about American culture, or well, yeah, I love American culture, I love British culture and all that. But I'm talking of the weird thing is, I'm talking of where we don't even, how many schools in Nigeria now speak, teach Yoruba. What we're doing essentially is that we are wiping out our own culture gradually, where people can't speak Yoruba. Why not? And people are ashamed to, when somebody is speaking Yoruba, everybody begin to laugh. They are looked down upon. Well, I don't know. What do you guys think is actually going on with this? What exactly is going on? So anyway, well, back to the John Randall. So I would like some comments in regards to that. The John Randall Center for Yoruba Culture, noisy, and like I said, unapologetically non-European. Even today we find that Yoruba culture is influencing the world in all sorts of ways, which Fela Kuti, taking it out of Oriki singing tradition to a fusion of West Coast American jazz. The notion of, for example, salsa, that's in origin, a Yoruba dance movement that was taken up in Brazil. You now find Yoruba cuisine in London and New York. There's a real sense that Yoruba culture needs more visibility. you know the funny thing is that those abroad actually look, most foreigners, they try to look at where we're coming from, and they admire it. Because I remember when we had people from the southwest, the Yoruba, were singing like R. Kelly. They didn't make any money. Americans are not looking to see an African coming to New York to come and sing like an American. you know but now, because well, back then, Fela Anikulapo Kuti, Sonny Ade, Ebenezer Obey, these people were singing with African intonation and all. Sonny Ade, I remember, for a long time, Sonny Ade is from Ondo town. Actually, as far as I was concerned, he was just singing in Yoruba. So it was later that I now realized that, come, this is singing in Ondo accent. He will go to Denmark, he will go, everywhere all over Europe, and they loved it. But most of the artists of those times, the younger ones, were just singing, with, they were trying to sound American. You live in Lagos, you want to sound like an American, you know. Then they did not perfect it. Internet was not as, we don't have internet during that time period. Now that the internet has brought the entire world, has made everything one. Now we have people now, who can speak American accent without leaving Jankara, you know. And that's what I met. There's this comedian, I've forgotten his name now. This guy does skits, and when he speaks, if they tell you that this guy is from Texas, you won't believe it. He's an alaye, live and direct. So, this is some of the things. But when you now have the artists that we have now, we're talking of Davido, we're talking of Olamide especially for me, Olamide actually sings with Ibadan. See, should I say or your accent or Ibadan accent? And they loved it. They are going everywhere. Artists from all over the world wants to do, collaboration with them. And that is for them to be who they are without changing. That is fantastic. Anyway, so, well, there you have it. So I just want to say thanks, thank you everyone. Once again, my name is Olatunde MD, and just want to thank you guys. And later on, we'll be talking again. So from us at G9ijaTV, just want to say thanks and good night and God bless and happy new month of May. Good night.